Yo, what's up? Welcome to Numbers with Ace Shikari. I'm your host, Ace Shikari, but you already know, call me Ace. And in this episode, we're talking about vision boards because Chad's about that time of year again. So, since the new year is so quickly approaching, why not figure out what you should be putting on your vision board, what I would recommend, and everything that comes with it. So, if you're liking what you hear, make sure you're sharing on your socials and tag me at Numbers with Ace Shikari on Instagram and TikTok. And all the direct links are in the description of this episode. But let's go ahead and get into it because I got a lot of good info to get into it. I'm really honestly excited about it. Okay, so firstly, I want to start off with a discussion around angel numbers. I feel like people have really gravitated to angel numbers over the past, probably about 3-4 years, have just a very strong push towards angel numbers and what they're seeing, but a lot of people don't actually understand numbers. But that's where I come in as a conglomerated numerologist. So I would recommend vision boards for you specifically if you've been seeing numbers like 1111, 444, 222, 111, 2222, 123, 1234, 55, 88, and 456. Now, I say those numbers specifically because they all have a connection to the physical in a sense, and for some of those numbers, it's the thoughts becoming physical, the energy becoming physical or tangible, and that type of energy around it. So, if you really want to understand more about those angel numbers and other angel numbers as well, I would recommend checking out my angel number guide, actually, and it goes over a in-depth explanation of all of the numbers that I just listed, actually. And like I said, more, because it's like you've been seeing these numbers but you might not know what they mean. So that's what I'm here for. But I definitely recommend checking those numbers out and checking that guide out. It will be in the description. So this vision board that you're going to be making, I would like to start off and say that a lot of times when people are making vision boards, they don't take their time. And I think with next year being a universal 8 year, it's very crucial that you take your time to create it and you take your time to plan it out. And there's actually a TikTok video that I'm gonna link in the description so you can check out of taking your time to plan it out, because taking that time to sit down more than once to make this vision can really help you understand what you really want your vision to be. Because it's everybody pushes, I won't say everybody, but society can a lot of times push this narrative of how your life should look. But you as you might not want your life to look like that. I might want my life to be filled with paparazzi and red carpets and galas and events and celebrities and rah rah rah. But you might want your life to be filled with cottagecore, with farm stuff, with, creating board games, writing books, traveling the world. Your vision is different than my vision, and I think that in taking the time to really understand what that vision truly looks like, you're going to get a lot farther. So my first things first, after angel numbers at least, is to take the time to create a vision board. And with, again, next year being a universal 8 year, I would add on to that making multiple vision boards. And I'm not saying just in one go around, but I'm saying making vision boards that would take 3 months, and making also a very actionable plan towards those things of, okay, let's say you want to travel the world, or you want to travel to what's a good Tulum, for example. You want to go to Tulum or some shit. You want to go there, okay? What are some actionable steps you can take to get to Tulum in the next 3 months? Okay, we gotta get some money. We gotta see what parts of Tulum we're gonna go there. How long are we staying in Tulum? What videos could I watch or even articles could I read to help me prep for this trip and stuff like that, and applying that to every little thing that you're trying to achieve. Because I think that there's a glamorization around rushing the process, when the process is really what makes that picturesque moment come to life. Is how you really get there, is through that process. So I encourage you in making this vision board that you're gonna make, because there's not a if, you're gonna make this vision board, babe, because you and I are here together. So you're gonna make this vision board, and when you make it, you're going to take your time and you're gonna be intentional about it, and you're gonna focus on a little bit more shorter periods of times. And you can do 3 months, you could do 6 months, you could do a quarter, you could do a month at a time, whatever tickles your fancy. And you could also still do it for the entire year. But it's if you have struggled with helping your vision boards come to life, focusing in on more actionable things that you can do to get there. If you're trying to get your follower count up, you're trying to hit these grades in school, you're trying to go to this, that, and the third, whatever it may be, taking more time to figure out a plan on actually getting there versus just being like, oh, I want this for myself. Some of those things, I think some goals can be hit naturally and authentically when you just leave it up to the universe. I think other things, and this is probably something you might even experience yourself, of other things you just have to figure out for yourself, of taking that time to really to build up to that for you. Of it's not gonna be spirit over here just being like, okay, I'm doing everything for you. Sometimes you gotta tap into that law of action a little bit more. So it's like, I encourage you to really take that time to figure that out. So in that, what is figuring out look like? Okay, so let's get into some prompts. Okay, let's get into some prompts. What from 2023 did you accomplish? And what did you not accomplish that you wanted to? And I know that's a hard pill to swallow. Like, there was things that you set out to achieve that you just might not have hit. And that can be that you didn't get that relationship, or you didn't find those friends, or you didn't get that book deal, or you didn't get to travel these places, or this happened or that happened and not even got in the way, but just changed the path that you thought you wanted to be on. Maybe some of these things are things you don't want to achieve anymore. So then I would ask that of what are some things that you didn't achieve this year that you do still want to achieve. And I also encourage you to not put a time limit on it. Of if it's something that you wanted to achieve this year but you didn't achieve this year, and you do still want to work towards next year, put it on that vision board. But don't put a time limit on it, because it might not happen next year, but it might happen the year after that. It could also maybe happen tomorrow. So that also, and one of them leads me to ask, if everything came right now, everything that you wanted came right now, are you prepared to handle it? If all the money, if all the success, all of the stability, all of the comforts and desires that you want for yourself, are you ready right this second? Like, if you turn to your right and it was just all right there in your face, could you take it? Now, the answer is probably no, because it's a very much overwhelming situation. But what can you do? What can we do even to help you be prepared? What steps do you need to take to get there? What steps do you need to take to achieve that thing that you might still want to achieve? And that's something else I would ask. And I really encourage you to take the time to, pause this episode, get you a journal, get you a random piece of paper, even a napkin, I don't care. Write it down, or even just talk it out. I think a lot of times people might get too tied to the concept of writing the thoughts out. Just talk to yourself if you gotta. You listen, you can pause me right now and just talk to yourself about it, of what did I accomplish this year? What did I not? And what do I still want to accomplish next year? What do I still want to achieve? What am I still working towards? And what are 1 to 3 things I can do to help me progress in that direction? Or even what I think would be progression in that direction. Because it's like, sometimes you might do that thing and then realize, okay, well, instead of doing it this way, maybe you go about it this way. But it still would require you to take that first step in whatever direction you decided to take. So that would be the first thing. The next thing I would ask is, what adventures did you take this year that brought you a new perspective? And this is both internal and external. Of just, what happened to me this year? How did I alter? How did I grow? How did I change? And I can say something for me personally, of I was not as confident in my work as I am present day. I posted my first YouTube video on my old YouTube channel earlier this year, and I can see the video in my head, and I was just so nervous. Knowing me, and if you know me personally, you know I was just damn near about to shit myself. Like, I was nervous. And to now be in a spot where it's like there's thousands of people following me on social media, and there's people who are paying attention to my work and tuning into these episodes, and people who are binging my content. It's an accomplishment. But if it was my life at the beginning of this year, I would have panicked, because actually I did panic. I had a video do really, really well on TikTok earlier this year, and then did not post for months after the fact because I got scared. It was scary. And it's a valid experience, but it's like, also, again, it's very much highlighting of the steps that I wanted to take to achieve whatever the goal was. Part of that step was posting, part of the steps were posting on social media. And when I did it, I panicked. And then I had to sit with, okay, well, why did I panic? Okay, what made me scared? What am I so nervous about? What is this, that, and the third? And really asking those questions, I encourage you to do that work, because I think in creating your vision board, you have to do a level of shadow work to really get the most out of it. You can hope for what you hope for, but it's sort of kind of a empty hoping, because or not even an empty hoping, more of a cluttered hoping, because there's not a clarity of how to get there. Clear your own path. Make that clearer vision of past just the Pinterest pictures, past just the, okay, let me write 2 or 3 journal prompts. Really get in your own business so you can get out your own way to actually achieve the things you're trying to achieve next year. Because with 2024 being the year that it's going to be of a universal 8 year, the physical and the tangible is so much more emphasized. So work with that. Use that to your advantage to really make the things that you want to be tangible. And I think one of the last prompts I would say is, what is something that you learned that influenced your point of view? How did you alter your own brain chemistry in a sense? Because it's like, like I know TikTok be TikToking because I be on there too. So it's like, what did you experience in 2023 that really just altered how you saw stuff, altered how you went about things? And I think that's like a more of a fun, lighthearted one of just like, how did things change? And because I think that a lot of times change can be seen as a bad thing, but I think it's one of the most beautiful things. I think it's one of the best things that can be done, because so many things can come from a single change. Like any little alteration can do so much. So I really want you to sit with those questions of what from 2023 did you want to accomplish? Did you accomplish? And what did you not accomplish? Are there things there that you still want to achieve? What adventures did you take both internally and externally that brought a new perspective? What is something that altered your brain chemistry and influenced your point of view in some way? And I want you to ask these things, because we're ending this year on a 157 day of the December 31st, 2023. It's going to be a universal 1 month, a universal 5 day, and a universal 7 year. And that's going to be a very mentally stimulated energy because of 5 and 7's connection to Mercury, and then also the sun, or rather 1 being ruled by the sun, is very illuminating. And it's going to bring more intensity and amplification to that mental stimulation. And this also brings expression through authenticity, because 5 being ruled by Mercury as well as Jupiter is very expression focused. It likes to take up space in its own unique way, and it typically is internal space. And then authenticity is very much highlighted in that 1's energy that is included in the universal energy for December. So it's like taking that time to really be like, how much have I been holding myself back? How much have I not really been myself? Because there's been a couple of videos that I've seen on this there was a test that was done, and I don't know how recent this was or even how accurate it is, but it sounds fairly believable, I will say that. They put like 200 people in a room, and they tested the frequency of different feelings, and the highest, that was even larger than love itself, was authenticity. How can you really embody this larger than life vibration to really help yourself close out this year not only with a bang, but also close out this year of you really being yourself? Because something else that comes with that 157 day will be confidence within your knowledge and understanding. So allowing yourself to embrace confidence and embrace yourself in knowing what you know about yourself, and also knowing what you don't know, because a big theme of next year, and also even this year, has been the unknown and will be the unknown because of the rulers that are at play. Because we're starting 2024 in this 918 energy. So there's a very much an internal change that has a very foot on the gas type vibe, and that can be good, bad, ugly, and beautiful all at the same time. It's a lot. So it's like, again, and that energy is very much highlighting of, again, the question I had asked earlier of, if everything you wanted came into fruition right now, would you be ready? Or even tomorrow, would you be ready? And what do you need to be ready? Because in starting this year off in such a powerful punch, it can be really anxiety inducing. It can be very much headaches and migraines and just a level of fatigue and just feeling like you can't move, a level of stagnancy in a way, even though 9 and 1 are very movement focused energies, of 9 being ruled by Mars and Neptune and 1 being ruled by the Sun. This is very potent, action oriented energy. It can still destabilize you and put you in a position where you're stagnant. It can still make you feel uncertain and put you in a bag of like, I can't actually do this right now. I'm gonna go take me a nap. And that's very real. That's very honest. And if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do. Be honest with yourself, because 1, 9, and 8 all have an energy of authenticity. I think that something that people disregard about 8 being ruled by Saturn and Pluto, with that Saturn rulership, Saturn ruling over like boundaries and time and rest, it connects to life in and of itself, and it really hits you in the places that it hurts when you're not doing those things that would respect your boundaries, respect your time. Because also I feel like respect is also tied into the themes that 8 rules over, and therefore Saturn is connected to some extent. It really emphasizes you doing what you got to do for you. Not necessarily for anybody else, but for you. What do you need to do to make sure you're okay? And that's the energy we're starting the year off in. And also, it's like, this is also a transformation into a new, mysterious, unknown energy. And in that mystery, anything is possible. So that also brings me to pose the question of, in what ways do you want to change and transform yourself in your life? And these can be heavy. This might be a heavier question, but it's an honest question of, how do you want to change? Do you want to change? Do you want to stay the same? And if there's even just a slight change, if you know what, I want to really get consistent on doing my skincare, or I want to get this done, I want to make sure, I want to get a new wardrobe, or I want to work on building a home space that I really love and I care about. I want to be closer with my friends and my family. I want to really have nurturing relationships around me. Whatever change you want to invoke, figure it out and make that happen. And again, actionable steps. And then also with this 9-1-8 energy, we're starting with impacts to power. This is power dynamics, abuse of power, authority figures. And it's like, in what ways can you strengthen your own power? And also, in what ways have you been limiting your own power as well? Because that's something that I know in my own space, have just been over here like, yeah, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna really speak to you because I'm kind of nervous about whatever I'm gonna say. And yet I've been told on multiple occasions I explain things so very well. And I'm just like, really? Okay. And I think that another big theme of next year will be experience in relationships with trauma. Not necessarily more trauma being caused, inherently at least, just your experience with it. So this also would bring up shadow work as well. But I would recommend checking out my Universal 8-year videos, or rather episodes, to figure that out. Or to hear more about that, because it's like, we are talking about vision boards, and you might be like, what does this all have to do with vision boards? Well, again, I want you to clear the path. I want you to clear the space to help your visions really come to life, and help your visions really come into fruition, and help whatever you do put on this vision board to really materialize in a way that is not only so beautiful, but is so potent that it can't be erased. It can't be forgotten. It can't be ignored, because I want you to experience that beauty. And it's like, this brings me to the last point I guess I will make. There's again, another TikTok video that is linked in the comments, or rather in the description, of there's this book of possibilities, and this is from The Last Holiday, and I saw a TikTok video on this. So I haven't watched the movie, but basically what the creator was saying in this video was that I think it was Queen Latifah is acting in this movie. She had this book of possibilities at the beginning, or at some point in the movie, that at the end she changed it to, or the book changed to, a book of realities. So it's like, in getting really clear on what the energy of this year is closing out on, and getting clear on what the year ahead looks like, and also how you want to really clear the path for any vision you want to create. Because even if you're listening to this however far in the future, it's very much still true to nature of how can you clear the path for your visions? How can you make it a more direct journey for yourself? Because it's not like stopping on the road is a bad thing of just like, oh, let me investigate this plant, and that plant is you diving into deeper relationships with certain people, or realizing that you need to work on this part of yourself a little bit more, and then maybe you come across an animal that is harmful to you and that requires you to do shadow work or just whatever. It's like there's stops along the way and there's nothing wrong with that. And in discussing your vision board and creating your vision board, of taking your time to make it and to take your time to plan it out and be very intentional with it, of not just doing one sitting, clear cut through, of really, and if you can do it in one sitting, do it in one sitting. But if you feel like you don't have all the pictures yet, you don't have all the words yet, you haven't found it just yet, give yourself the space and the time for it to find you, because baby, it will. When you let the space stay open, you allow for things to come in, and that can be good and bad stuff. But when you find that stuff that you want to add to that vision board, or add even into your life, you can then pick and choose. You're not just going to have to take whatever it is at face value and swallow it. Like, no, you just hold the space there for a second. Give yourself a day or two, even a week. Just like the creator who made that video, I think they had said give yourself the entire month of December. Now we're leaning towards mid-December now, which is a wild play there, but I digress. Give yourself the time to make this vision board. And again, it does not have to be how your entire 2024 is set up if you don't want it to be. It can really just be the January. It can really be the January through March, or January through April, or January through June. It doesn't have to be so set in stone just because it is. And also, I would encourage you to genuinely love what is on your vision board. Because I recently, actually a couple months ago at this point, redid my vision boards. And I have never loved vision boards so much. Like, it is so cleansing to my energy and exciting and exhilarating to my space to see what's on my vision board. It's so bright, it's so colorful, it's so vivid, and it just evokes this new energy in me every single time I see it. And it's in a sense, it's indescribable of how much I genuinely love how my vision boards look now. And you can also make more than one. I encourage making more than one. I'm a maximalist in that sense of make as many as you need to make. And you can make little subsections of, okay, this is my love life, this is my family life, this is my career or my job or how I make money, this is how I sustain my life, this is how the world looks. You could put how you want the world to change on your vision board. You know, sit down and really be intentional with it. But like, honestly, I'm excited to see what you make. And also be really, in this intentionality, be mindful of who you're sharing your vision with. And that doesn't mean that you got to keep your vision to yourself, because as I have learned in my own experience, not everybody is plotting on your downfall. There are people who are rooting for you, and they're rooting very loudly. So for those people who are rooting for you really loudly, let them cheer. And that doesn't mean that you have to let them into every little waking thought that you're having, but let people support you in your visions and in your goals. And if you feel like there's people that you don't have to do that, okay, baby, you don't need to share this vision board with them. It's not their vision. It's yours. So do what feels right and feels good for you. Do that. Be honest with yourself. But listen, man, this was fun. I always have fun doing these. And I appreciate you for listening. Make sure you share this with somebody who's interested in vision boards or even wants to learn about numbers and numerology and stuff like that. Because we got more to come. So make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Numbers with Ace Jakari to keep up with me and see all the new content that we got coming. But make that vision board. If you don't make it right now, will you actually make it tomorrow? Look, let's be honest. I love you to bits. We'll chat in the next one. Peace.